We are live for the
Hello.
the second episode of what is very new to me, but I'm very excited to have some people joining us today, and also one of my fellow Red Rebels, Linda. So I'm really excited to have you here. So let's dive right in. We have chatted before. I'm excited about this chat. We're both kind of newer to Substack, but we're both finding some really intentional work with it. Some really amazing things that maybe you felt is different from other platforms and whatnot. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, any offerings you have, and then I'll kind of circle back and do what I do as well with Grounded Growth Collective and also my business side of things. And then we'll just get to chatting. And as I am 100% honest with people, I am outside. It is hot. There's sweat on my neck. I'm wearing shorts, so I look nice up here, but I'm wearing shorts down below. But it is still a beautiful July day, and to be able to do this live in my garden is a lot of fun. So yeah. All right. Take it away.
Well, I think it is just so delightful that you're doing what you're doing, and I am so happy to be able to participate with you. I mean, I think it was so funny the other day when we were chatting. It was like there was never a pause in the conversation at all. It was the first time we talked to each other. We had emailed and everything, and it went from one thing to another, and there was I love that. I love that kindred souls and so forth. So I'm in a different stage of life, obviously, than you are. And I bring that up just because it's kind of it ends up being a big piece of what I do. I've walked so many different roads and been down so many different directions, always an entrepreneur at heart, but I've worked corporate. I've had my own store. I've taught college as a college professor, just all of these different variations, but always the common thread of there's a plane, like you promised.
There's the plane. I literally live on the landing pattern. Sometimes it's takeoff, sometimes it's landing. So sorry, but that's real life, everybody. It's not perfect, but it works.
I think it's fantastic. That's great. And I mentioned that just because the through line has been this entrepreneurial spirit that I've always had. Even in these other capacities, I was the person that somebody would always come to and they would say things to me. And it was when I was teaching for that 15 years, but even when I had my store, people would say things to me like, I just come here because being around you makes me feel better. And that was a through line for everything. And then when I started my own journey to a better place, I started referring to it as just moving forward on my journey to better. And then it kind of took another, it became, in a nutshell, what I do is I help people, primarily women, but I do work with men, move forward on their road to better. And I do a lot of different things, and I work more with capable women and people who've had some success, and there's some specifics to it, but I wanted to give you sort of the umbrella. And even my business itself is called Life Lessons with Linda. My students named it.
I love that.
College students, they would be like, the best thing about your classes is Linda's Life Lessons. And I'm like, the first boy who said that to me was a 20-year-old. He sat in the back row of the classroom, and I was like thinking, I thought you didn't even listen. I thought you weren't even paying attention, that kind of a thing. So it's been this evolution, and I use many different modalities and tools to guide people forward on their road to better. And primarily now I describe it as working with capable women because, and again, a lot of times with us, it starts with us. I can't tell you some years back how many times when I was going through stuff, we all go through stuff, right? That's what life is. And people, especially some snotty, not very nice in-laws, we'll leave it at that, would be like, I just don't see what anything you have to, that's even wrong. You have this perfect life. You have everything. You have da 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 da. And it was the other people's perception is that you have this XYZ thing, and you can feel entirely different inside. And that disconnect, that can cause a whole lot of issues for us. And that's where I get to people. I spot patterns. I work with people, and I try to, I spot the patterns, and I can be very analytical about it for the people who sort of need that, because I track and I help you spot your overing behaviors. And it started with my own overing behaviors. And what I call overing behaviors are, we have our tendencies: over giving, overdoing, overthinking, over analyzing, over drinking. It just can go on and on and on. Over tending, just the overing behavior. And that was the start of things. And then from there, I went to capacity patterns and money patterns, and it all stacks and it all lines up in this amazing way that when I share it with former colleagues, other professors like in psychology and so forth, they're like, this is freaking amazing, just how it all layers. And they're looking at me going, she has her MBA. How did she come up with this? It's just
the trained professionals in a field.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And they're like,
interesting.
And this makes so much sense, or whatever. So it's been this interesting journey. So right now, I'm like you, getting started with the Substack stuff. And I do daily, well, it's 5 days out of 6, a little recording. It's a video. And what it's doing is the sun is moving, and we are collectively in a certain energy. And I spend 5 days talking about the energy that we're in for 6 days. Okay, I take one day off. And they just, if you subscribe, you get that free of charge, even though every time I load it, Substack tries to say, put it in your paid. I'm like, no, this is free. But and it is a look at the overall vibe that everybody's feeling. And some of us have access to that energy all the time. And if it's energy that I have consistent access to, I'll usually have a story or two to describe it and so forth. So right now, we're in, She Sees the Details. Okay, so that's my name for it. Okay.
Yes.
And so I give it the energy a name that is easier for me to remember. A lot of this is, kind of how I used to teach accounting and finance and management and marketing. I often came up with my own way of explaining stuff to my students. And I remember one time telling a student, she was in my office and having the dickens of a time with some accounting concept. And I was in the hallway with an open door, and I was in a hallway with PhDs in accounting. And this poor girl was working so hard. I saw the evidence that she was indeed working, and she just wasn't getting it. And finally, I said something to her like, well, I knew she was into yoga. I said, let's take the yoga approach to accounting. And then I, kind of went at it a different way. And then it clicked with her, and she got it, and so forth. And she ended up getting her CPA. Because sometimes the door needs to be unlocked in a different way. And that's the kind of work that I used to be known for. And this professor who was in the office next to me kind of marches out, and he's like, do tell me what the yoga approach to accounting is. And, he was all puffed up and indignant that I dared to. I'm like, you know what? She got it and understands it, and that's all that matters. So
feminine energy over masculine energy. Boy.
Yeah. So I have that. I call it the daily dose, and it's just I do these 5 episodes. The first one is an overview of here's what the overall energy is about, and it's my interpretation based on the available information about, about
Yeah.
that energy. So I give this overview, an introduction kind of a thing, and then I move into the Miss Cranky Pants version.
I love. Yeah.
And Miss
Yeah,
Cranky
so clearly
Pants,
we have a lot of flights
yeah,
tonight.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
again,
you
sorry.
do. Yeah.
Actually, there's two neighbors on right now, and they can fully identify with how it feels at
That's
the
fun.
airport.
Yeah, so I talk about the cranky energy of this
I love
because
that one.
it's not
When I
all
started listening to yours, I was
it's
like,
not
I
all
love it.
yeah, it's not all roses and stuff. I mean, we're humans, and we would love to be at our best selves, our best version of us. And that just isn't realistic. And there's times
Yeah.
where, it's just, and that one came from just again how things do. And it's like, I'm so cranky, I want to smack the ever loving shit out of somebody, or I just
Yep.
can't stand myself, or something like that. That's cranky energy, and
Yes.
we can be very prone to that crankiness in the collective cocktail that we're working from. So I do that, and then talk about just that the overall energy in everyday life when it's just working as it should, as it was designed to, and then
Yeah.
that best version of ourselves. I
Yeah.
call it the inner saint, but more often it's just this is your best self in this energy.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
one more episode that pulls it all together.
Okay.
And just kind of wraps it up. And sometimes I share stories, or lately it's been kind of, it's all over the place, but it's fairly light, but not light, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I've really enjoyed them turning into it again, learning these energies myself. I have several different variations that I'm able to listen to learn about what these are. And, if we get real deep, it could go back to what I just went through in the past couple weeks. They were very close to me, but the energy we're in starting anew, it hits hard on everybody today, or yesterday it started. But also I'm like, ooh, all right, that one isn't even part of me, but I certainly feel it and whatnot. So and I do follow my astrology quite close too, and it's been really interesting to see how the layers of, and yes, I'll refer to it as best as I can as like the frequencies as energies, or within human design. That's kind of the umbrella of it all. And yet also, you're not a other or, it's also like where the astrology falls. And guys, be happy you have a good view of Linda, because the past 2 times she's joined a call with me, it's been like up close faced, and she can't fix the camera setting, and we were just like Mercury retrograde at its finest, because
I did nothing, and then the camera adjusted, so it was bizarre.
And then
So we giggled about that, but and I have studied and been involved in human design for over 6 years, and I am certified in a number of different things with that. But my people that I typically end up working with, who find me, they don't have any idea of that kind of stuff. They're just starting on any of that. So I deliberately choose a more accessible language. And instead of talking about the gates, the traits, the gifts, that's the different names for just one concept in human design. It just can, it can be too much.
It can be a lot. It can be.
So
I've been in information overload for sure.
I choose a simpler language to hopefully make it approachable, accessible, so it just sort of makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. That's the overall energy that the sun is moving through right now, and we're all absorbing that.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of thing. And again, it's not unlike what I did when I was teaching these other classes. For
life
college
callings
students
and whatnot, and then you've just found your evolution of it again.
In a different way. So and it just to make it more understandable. And then right now I've got a couple of things on the burner. I'm just I have, if people are interested, a call. If you're just sort of like, yeah, that's me, she described me, like people say this to me, like or I hear this stuff about how good my life is, and it sure doesn't feel like it matches up, and I have no idea why. I have a call, and it's called When You're Capable and Something Feels Off. Because that's the best way I had to describe it myself and my clients that I work with. That sums it up. And it's a half hour where I ask you some questions and listen to you and give you kind of a sense of what's maybe going on, and so forth. So I have that available as well, and I'll provide you the link.
We'll get that out with the posts and everything. And if we want to drop it into the chat, we can.
And then I'm just really, it's like the idea is, I'm sure you're feeling this way too. The idea is just flow once you really get going. I've very soon got a free report coming, and that one is called "Oh, That's Why."
Can I tell you, I said that verbatim in my brain numerous times as I've gotten to learn myself. Within human design. I'm like,
Yep. See?
Okay.
And it goes through the energy that from the day that you were born into, because that is a big piece of who you are. And we talk about what everyday life, the cranky pants, and it's a pretty simple report. I'm keeping it. It's not fancy. I don't want to put my time into fancy and all that. But it's been very meaningful. Even when I did it for myself, and I was like, oh my God, this is pretty cool. I wish I'd had this 30 years ago or 40 years ago, that kind of thing. So that will be available very, very soon. And then I'm starting to offer in Substack a monthly work. No, it's called road work, because we're on the road to better. All of us are on the road to better. So we will have monthly road work sessions, and the part one of it is available free for everybody, and there'll be a part two on my paid tier in Substack. And the first one will be it's always going to be the first Thursday of a month, and the first one will be in August. Then that first week of August. Why you keep carrying so much?
I just love the terminology. It's just so, I really like that. It hits me just like boom. It's simple.
That's what it's designed to do. So
and if you it's working.
Well, because that's me. That's who I am, and so forth. And I mean, I know I keep talking about the college kids and stuff, because they can be brutal. They're brutally honest and things like that. Yet in the 10 minutes before class, I had some rules with them. I was always playing music, and I danced, because I would teach like 5 classes in a row. And so I needed my energy up for when I got started with them. And even some of the things I say in the daily dose are things that I said to my students every class. Let's get started, just and how I finish things. Always they were to come back to me safely, just that kind of stuff. And so I carried that through this. Not that I'm teaching in class, but it's the same. It's a similar energy. But I can't tell you how many times people were like, I can't believe that like colleagues again, that you dance around in front of your students. I'm like, oh my God, I'm 50 years old at that stage of life. I'm like, why would I care if they think I'm silly for dancing around in front of the class? And so I would always play song, and then the word would get out or whatever. And it's like, then don't take my class. Don't schedule me. This is you are
or take it because you think that it's funny.
And it was that kind of thing. They either loved me or they hated me. Not a lot of middle ground, and I'm okay. I learned to be okay with that. But so anyway, that's kind of the overview of things, and I'm really excited for the one that I'm doing in September too. I mean, it's like I've got this lineup, and now I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to do these things. Still irreplaceable, and that one's really targeting women who can feel like society's waiting to replace us. Not so fast.
Not at all. Not so fast. Definitely.
So
awesome. Love it.
So
you've got a lot of great things coming up. I know we will definitely share that, and I do want to encourage us. We do have a few people here live, so thank you for that. At any point in time, the chat is interactive. If you have questions on something that somebody said or I'm about to say or whatever,
Yeah.
please, this is meant to be an
Please
interactive
do.
experience. So to get into anybody on here who doesn't know me or doesn't know me that well yet, I am Kelly. So, and you're in Wisconsin, correct?
Yes, yes. It is
Okay,
very
okay.
steamy here right now. At
Yeah,
this,
it's steamy
so
here
it's
too.
5:20 in the afternoon here right now. It is still 94 degrees, and
Yeah, you were hotter than me today. Although I think I get it tomorrow.
it's been
Yeah.
brutal. Well, we're still supposed to be 94. Like my leeks out in my garden were just all
Yeah.
very, very unhappy. So I gave them an extra drink of water, and the broccoli, Romanesco broccoli that I planted is really not enjoying this hot weather at all. Anyway, so yeah.
I could get into that. Yeah, definitely. So, again, apologies for how loud. Some days are louder here than others, but I am on the flight path today with the landing. However, I joke with that. There have been times I'm flying home, and if I'm on the right-hand side of the plane, like I can literally look out the window and see where my house is landing. And I live in the city of Cleveland, so I'm in a neighborhood in the city of Cleveland, the West Park Camps Corner neighborhood. And shout out to 2 neighbors that are here.
That is so
Thank you.
fun.
Yeah, one that literally lives right up the street. Yeah. So I have my Substack, which is Grounded Growth Collective. So what I have done is I have been in business for 8 years, and my business name is Kelly's Creations in the CLE. I literally said it on a call today where I was like, I don't like my business name. I've never liked my business name.
She did. I was there.
It came up very quickly, and I'm like, well, the good news is it's never like restricted me to anything except now, like at times it was great that geographically you knew where I existed, because CLE is very much, especially in the United States or even Midwest, like you see CLE, you know it's Cleveland. And
actually,
it's
I did
becoming
not.
even more. You did not. Okay, well, if you're a lot of sports fans, we'll put it that way. A lot of sports fans,
and my husband probably would have for sure. I just to me, I was that dumbass, like, huh? What? I don't get it.
Don't worry. It's fine. Yeah. So I've had my business for a while, and I really I identify myself professionally as a garden consultant. So my concentration is what I have behind me. I am outside in my garden. So the raised bed kitchen garden setup, and a kitchen garden refers to something that's easily accessible to you, whether it's out your side door, your back door. So I am in my backyard, but out of my front door, I actually have raised beds that line my front walkway as well. And it's meant to be in more of an urban setting. If you live out on a farm or a homestead, probably not going to be as much help to you, because I don't know what it would be like. Well, that's the UPS plan. That's why that one's so loud. When I can read the tail, you know that they're close.
I'm kidding.
So again, everyone, sorry for the noise interruption, but that's just how life is. So I have really done my specialty with the raised bed kitchen garden, and I have a lot of great just recognition and growth within my local Northeastern Ohio area. I've been featured on Fox 8's New Day Cleveland, which is a local, they do a morning show. They love to feature small businesses, and that's exactly it. So we tend to do live shots from the garden several times a year. It's a lot of fun that way. I've done installations all over. I have clients as far as 2 hours away from me to 5 minutes away from me. So I have clients all over. But I have been called to more. And I knew that. So I've, in truth, if it weren't for the trials and tribulations that I went through over the past 2 years, I don't know if I'd be sitting here today. It's the failures that I've gone through to build me up to who I am today. And knowing that I'm craving more, I want more within my human design. It is very much so meant to be the storyteller, a leader. And that can mean so many different things. Even early on, everyone is like, you'd be such a great teacher. I'm like, well, teacher could mean a lot of things. It doesn't mean a classroom or being at a collegiate level or a grade school level or whatever.
I never would have thought that I would end up doing that. Let me just say.
Yeah.
The 20-year-old.
I won't rule it out completely, but you never know.
So I'm just saying.
So, yeah, exactly. So within, everything I've gone through, it has been leading me to more, to better, to new things. And part of that was joining within this. A lot of these calls that we're doing are with women that we are in the same community together. And it is part business coaching, part Substack aspects, part human design aspects.
Yeah.
And the beautiful part is it's just a community of women. I think we're all very like-minded in that most of us are entrepreneurs or looking to sort of replace what we've been doing, and taking it in all different directions. I mean, it's so cool to see what so many people are doing. And really my hope with this too is that, I don't just teach about gardening and how to garden or do an installation or whatever it might be. My big focus is seasonal eating and seasonal living. So with that comes the life aspect of it. So what is in season now? So even if you can't grow your own food, go to your local farmer's market, get on a CSA, whatever it might be, to eat what's in season now instead of going to the grocery store and buying whatever you think you need for that week. When you start doing that and recognizing seasons and planning for seasons, it's a big shift within yourself. And then there's also just the gardening aspects, because I don't know a day that I'm pissed off coming in from gardening. I might be exhausted.
Yeah.
My back might hurt. And maybe I was mad about something before, but man, you get me out here for a few minutes, even if it's just 5
It
10
is a
minutes.
release.
There's a release. Whenever I'm actually digging in the soil, there are microbiomes that are released and move your serotonin level up. That's that happy when you hear that ding on your phone. That's a serotonin release. Well, I just pull up soil and then I get that naturally. So it is
farmer's
so much
daughter here, so totally good.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't have that cool story. You've got the cool story.
I left the farm when I was a baby, but I still have cousins and such that are big into farming. But they always, my dad, they left the farm, but where they built a house was kind of out in the middle of nowhere at the time, and we were surrounded by farm fields. And we had an acre yard with a ranch house, but a huge half an acre garden. So I still grew up with all of the pieces of that.
I know. And part of it too is it's been really interesting to see some of the women in this community who are not in the United States, and they're over in either the UK or parts of Europe, where they're like, oh, well, your garden is the way we garden. And this is probably something that you could agree with, in that, like, what you had, especially growing up as a farmer's daughter or being very closely related to that, that's what we have in America. We are agriculture, mass agriculture, big farms,
Wisconsin
acres
girl
and acres,
here.
Acres and acres of one crop. Whereas what I do, or maybe even your home garden afterwards, it's layering in all different things.
I plant in hay, raised beds in hay.
Yeah, there's potatoes.
I've been doing that for a for 6-7 years. The first year I did it, my husband's half Italian. He grew up in this Italian community outside of Chicago, and he loves a fresh tomato salad. And we have heirloom tomatoes that the neighbors in his hometown brought over from Italy, and we've been saving seeds for years and so forth. And I start them from seed in February, all that kind of thing. The first year when I decided to do the raised garden and the raised beds and planting in the hay, oh my God, the bitching I heard. I better get tomatoes. I better get my tomatoes this year. And then we had this amazing junk. I mean, the plants were so high and trellised up, and they were just absolutely beautiful. And we had this amazing crop of tomatoes. And so she never said another word. And the reason I did it is because when we were doing the other way, he would maybe help me. What he helped me with was putting the cages around the tomatoes, the support stuff. But everything else was pretty much on me. So the weeding and all that kind of a thing. And frankly, it's not that I hate it by any means, but when you've got 20 plants plus other ones, it was a lot, and
Yeah.
just the different things.
Yeah.
And so when I read about this, I'm like, well, we're trying this. That's it. And I
Yeah.
mean, we've got friends who farm, so go take the truck, and for quite a while, one of my friends was even delivering the hay to us, because I didn't care if it wasn't
Nice.
a pristine hay. If it had
Yeah.
started to break down a little bit, that was fine with me, where they would no longer feed that to an
Almost better.
animal.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So
Yeah.
the raised beds are wonderful. Yeah. Do you rotate then and just keep adding the dirt to it, or how do you layer in
I do
compost?
not crop rotate. Right. So my main feeder is fresh compost. Every time I succession sow or succession plant, obviously my biggest garden, not biggest, but like the most I plant is my spring cool season garden. So the big aha moment people have with me is that I garden and harvest 9 to 10 months out of the year. So people are like, you live in the Midwest. That's not, we don't plant anything till Mother's Day, and then we're done by Halloween. And I'm like, let me break that rule for you. Let me again, these shifts. So I start planning for my garden. I'm planning my fall garden right now. I'm about to sow my seeds for my fall garden. So again,
what are you
end
sowing?
of January, beginning of February, I'm sowing things for the spring cool season, which is then very similar to the fall cool season. And then in the middle, I have what I call the warm season. So again, the traditional, I've got tomatoes and cucumbers growing up over the arch, all of those normal things. But the cool season plants are the cool season, the crops that like it cool. So I'm already done with my lettuce. I'm already done with my bok choys. I'm already done with my mizuna, my arugula. I have new arugula that's already in. But the large plants, like I still have heads of cabbage that are forming. They're forming beautifully. My broccoli is coming in amazing. I have cauliflower that I'm pretty sure just isn't going to form the head. I really struggle with cauliflower. I get it in early enough. I just think we had the heat wave. Now we have another one. I think we just get too hot. Cauliflower just really likes it cold. So I don't know, maybe next year I'll try it even earlier. But then, so for the fall though, the thing that shifts is what do we have less of in the fall? Sunlight. So I have to take that into accordance of our days are getting shorter, whereas in the spring, our days are getting longer. So I sow quicker crops, more peas. But again, I love my Napa cabbages. Those are fast enough, but I'm not going to be doing the big cabbage plants and cauliflower. I'll do another round of broccoli. I'll do more kale, Swiss chard, lots of bok choy. I'm a big fan of the Asian cabbages, the little guys that just, they grow so fast, so quick. Of course, more radishes. And my new this year was rutabaga, and it's done very well. So I'll do another round of that and another round of carrots.
That's cool.
So, but with the way that I garden and kind of help protect plants too, I am going all the way through the holidays because we usually don't get the really, really hard freeze until after the first of the year. We'll get snow, and snow's great. Snow's an insulator. That's fine. And I use protection, whether it's frost cloth. I build my own custom cold frames as well, which can be like a 20-degree difference. So, I extend my seasons out quite a bit too. So yeah. It's fun.
I haven't done that kind of thing often. By the time fall comes and the tomatoes are, we've had years where we still had tomatoes growing on Halloween. Now they were slow developing because the days were so short. And when the tomatoes are, this big, it takes a long time for them to ripen. But and then there's the fight over the squirrels. I've got a couple of new ideas that I read about this year to try to keep the squirrels from eating the tomatoes before, because there's nothing.
I usually at that point in time just hack them down and bring them into my windowsill, because the other aspect too is the life span of a plant is only meant to be it's something I teach as well, as like small plants are only meant to be in the garden for 60 to 90 days, sometimes even less. Medium-sized plants, tomatoes are large plants, but anything more than 120 days. And again, they'll keep going because they're tomatoes and nothing will stop them until we get a hard freeze. But, again, they're just hanging
on. The flavor
on.
isn't the same either. The flavor's
not the same. So
yeah,
I always top my tomatoes usually in the beginning of mid-September, maybe end of September. I top my tomatoes so they don't keep growing, and whatever's there, try to give it some effort.
Yeah.
And then, if not, I have a windowsill that gets lined. I don't care what they look like.
Yeah.
But I also, the weird one, I don't love tomatoes. I grow them because they're very pretty on my arch, but I don't love tomatoes. Give me all the cucumbers, but
I don't love them. I love a fresh tomato salad with our heirloom tomatoes because they're very sweet. They don't have that acidic thing. With the fresh basil and some fresh onion in there, or leeks. I'm growing leeks, that kind of thing. And that with a crusty loaf of bread is amazing. Although I'm allergic to wheat, so I'm still on a quest. I'm getting the alternatives are getting better all the time, but
they are.
Yeah. But I mean, that is wonderful. My husband would eat like a red sauce every freaking day. And
he's got it in his blood. Yeah, I do not. I do not.
Linda does not love that with the same passion and whatever. And so he, I was the one freezing and doing all of it for years. But he retired and he took over kind of doing that stuff. And so we have always a ton of tomatoes in the freezer and different things. And thank God I was involved for a while with, did you ever see the movie A League of Their Own?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Okay. So the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Yes.
I got to know some of the players in that.
My gosh.
They had a reunion every year, and for a stretch of time I was going to that. And while I was doing that, I met two of the players that they played later than the movie setting, but they were still involved with the league, and they were Italian sisters. And so they shared with me two things because of the tomatoes. And they said the one was when they were little, their mom would be cooking up the tomato sauce, from the homegrown tomatoes, and it would take days and days to get it condensed down, because this is back in the probably when they were kids, probably the 40s or something like that.
Yeah, 40s,
30s. And I was like, oh my gosh. But they said, we were talking about I don't even know how it came up, but they said the mom, and they do it too, the unripe tomatoes, you take them and you wrap them in newspaper.
Yes.
And
brown
that
paper
helps.
Bags, newspaper.
And that helps too. So they're, each one like that. And that was like, okay. And then just through, it wasn't in that initial conversation, but then down some distance down the road, talking to them again, it was at a different reunion, and we were, enjoying the time together. And I was like, well, I learned about doing this. So instead of cooking the tomatoes on the stove like the mom did, I had read an article about cutting them in half. And this works particularly nicely with like the San Marzanos or the plum tomatoes. And you can scoop out some of the gooey stuff, seed stuff there, but flat, and then spray olive oil on them and salt and pepper, and you roast them down. So then from there, the next time I saw them, they were like, Linda, we started doing that, but now we cut up an onion and some peppers and put that while it's all roasting, and then you blend it all together, which is what we did. And I was like, that is the base for these amazing sauces, and super easy, and it gets rid of a whole lot of tomatoes for you. Although even just the cutting and the prepping, is a lot.
It still takes a while. Yeah, I did that last year. I do like tomato bisque. However, to make batches of tomato bisque, you can't freeze it. So I basically did, I love Barefoot Contessa. So I have numerous cookbooks by her. So I don't follow recipes, guys. Like I have clients and followers that are like, you should post recipes. I'm like, you want to know my recipe? I look at what's in the garden and I go, I'm just going to combine this together, whatever. And instead, I got the inspiration from her, but I did it on a sheet pan.
Why do you say
and
you can't freeze it?
So if you do milk, you can't freeze milk.
Well, so you freeze it up till you do it up to that point, and then freeze it before you put the milk in.
So I did, So basically the base. So I did the tomatoes, onions, a couple peppers. I don't do fresh garlic. I don't grow garlic. Everyone's like, "What? You don't grow garlic?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to give up the retail space for garlic. Not when I can walk up the street to my farmer's market and get great garlic." But I did. That's what I roasted them all up. And the cool thing is I could use any size tomato. So I would slice down my bigger heirlooms, but I was also throwing my cherry tomatoes on there. And then I did them all in my big blender. I was I did my immersion blender for a bit, and then it was easier to batch it and then blend in the basil. And then I canned and I didn't actually can. I basically have a jar sealer, so I didn't do the whole. You know, if it's going on a shelf, it needs to be canned. But if it's going in a freezer,
that's what we do.
Get all the air out.
Yeah.
So I have this cool thing I got where it sucks the air out, and then
we have one of those too.
I mean, the lid is sealed on there, and then I labeled them all, and I still am pulling them out right now. And the cool thing is, I just use the little quart-sized jars, and when I would thaw that would basically, I would add in Greek yogurt, actually, which was great to get more protein in, and then a little bit of milk or cream
to loosen it.
It's not quite the same look as when you have fresh tomato bisque.
No, it's not.
You know what? I used my stuff. I'm eating it.
Yeah,
it still tastes great. And in the dead of winter with the grilled cheese, that was top notch. That was top notch.
Tomato. I'm with you there. I'm totally with you there. That grilled cheese. Oh my gosh, that was comfort food from being a kid way back. It was tomato soup and back in the day, my mother wasn't that much of a cook, although we had a big garden and there were always all of the vegetables and things that were grown, and we froze and so forth. She was not. She cooked because she had to, kind of a thing.
Right.
So the soup was out of a can, and that kind of a thing. And I ate it and enjoyed it. So I'm not, but then when I learned I can make that.
This flavor, I can have that.
That's a whole different thing. So
So what is one of your favorite things to cook? Fresh from the garden, like if you could walk out, not today, but like as things are starting to really come in now, like what's one of your favorite things to cook for
I'm
you?
not growing it right now.
Not your kids.
I'm not growing it right now, but one of my favorite things fresh is sweet corn.
Oh, yeah.
Like just picked.
We're Midwest girls. How can we not like corn?
I know. But the whole thing is,
it's like sacrilegious.
I don't like corn in any other way because my mother was a casserole queen, and that damn corn was mixed into so many things. And I'd be this skinny little kid who they said, "You don't know how to eat, or you don't know good food." The corn would be mixed in there. I just wanted my hamburger in one spot and my, whatever. And I still have this because it's a texture thing. But because there's quite a few other foods that I'm like, because it was always mixed in with something else that made it horrifying for me. But but my husband is just sort of like, you got to not grow the corn. It's in the city. It's a pain to get rid of it at the end of the season, and it doesn't compost down all that well without. It's work to get it to a place where it will compost down, and he's like, I don't want to work that hard. We'll buy the corn.
That's kind of how I feel. It's one of those things like when it's in, which is the time to eat it, just go grab it from your local grower. Same thing. One of these years I might dedicate a space to try like 10, I don't know. And even then I'd probably have too much, but I feel like I want to try, maybe next year that'll be, every year I do a new experimental crop. Like, let me just try this. Several years ago, I started ginger. I grow ginger successfully every year now.
Oh, that's cool.
But every year it's like, let's try this. This year is a lot of new herbs because I was studying and am now certified with my herbalism certification.
That's cool.
I am not. It's funny though. I don't feel like an herbalist yet. I think I'm going to do maybe a video on it where it's like I got the certification because I took the test,
Yeah.
but so much of it is still like language to me that I don't get. But
See, and that's
I also feel like
circling
that
back. That's
doesn't
why I do the
stop me
daily
either.
dose. That's why I do the
Yeah,
daily
yeah,
dose,
because
it
same
helps
thing.
you
Like
integrate it. Mm-hmm.
right, there was one guy I was following that's using like the Latin name of everything. I'm like, no, that's not gonna
Yeah.
happen. And
Yeah.
instead, it's just what do I like? What flavors do I like? What
Yeah.
kind of slight medicinal qualities would I like
Uh-huh.
to have? Because in my basement, I am forming an apothecary, and it's
That's
going
so cool.
great. This
There's a
morning, I went
number.
out and did a big harvest for lemon balm, which I wrapped up, and
Uh-huh.
it's now hanging to
So
dry.
cool.
And
There's a number of people
you know,
on Threads. There's a vibrant herbalist community on Threads. I follow a gazillion of them. Just saying.
okay,
So
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's I've learned a lot from other herbalists that I
Uh-huh.
follow. I think just like anything, you need to layer it in how you want to layer it in. So that's what I'm doing. I have motherwort and mugwort that are new this year. Anise hyssop is new this year. What else is new? Stevia is new this year.
Ooh, that's cool.
And then I've added more of some of the other herbs I already grew. Oh, Tulsi is new this year, which is a shame that I never grew Tulsi before. But it's that. So, and next year I know there will be even more herbs that I'm growing.
Yeah.
And my main use, tea. That's my main use. Like I don't, but I do say that
living tea is way better for you. So that's awesome.
I have a birthday coming up next week. So for my birthday, I asked my parents, because it's money I didn't want to spend on myself, but I said it's a perfect birthday gift. I want to make a lot more creations and concoctions from things from my garden, but something I've always been scared of is especially the oils for flavor, for culinary uses. Man, you don't make those right, you could have a serious dose of botulism going on in that jar. And I'm very scared of that. So this thing is basically like a coffee maker where you put the oil, you put the herb. If it needs to be dried more, it'll dry the herb even further.
Oh, cool.
And then it infuses all on its own. And then when it's ready, it goes into the jar and it's done and it's safe. It's shelf safe.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Safe.
Actually, and circling
then I'll
back,
be able to give those to presents and things like that because I want to be able to share.
That's cool. Well, that takes me to you asked me the question about, and I said the corn, but I'm not growing that right now. My truly favorite thing to make straight from the garden, and I make big batches of it, is my pesto.
Oh yeah.
And I have 8 basil plants right now. And they are just going to town. I've cut them back several times, they are mixed in with the tomatoes like right now because they love each other so much.
Yes.
But
very complimentary.
all 3 of my boys cook, and they all 3 are the primary cooks for their families. And so because they grew up cooking and messing with me in the kitchen and so forth. And one of my sons was here. It was when he was in college, like probably senior year or something like that. And he had gone to school a few hours away, so I didn't see him very often. But he had a college friend who they're very close. They were in each other's weddings, that kind of thing. So my son and his friend Nathan were here, and I had to do something with my basil because it was just going crazy. So I pulled a bunch of it and, brought it in, cut a bunch of it, brought it in, and I go into town, making basil. And he's watching me. He's like, "That's all that's in pesto?" I'm like, "Okay, you got to, you have to know, I do not put pine nuts in mine because I don't like them in it. So my basil is simply, or my pesto is simply the basil, a good bit of fresh garlic, good olive oil, and Parmesan cheese. Parmesan cheese. And I load up my food processor, stuff as many things in I can, and I go to town with it. And he was like, "Are you kidding me? That's what's in this?" And it was like this, and then they're eating it, and they're like, "This is amazing." I'm like, "I don't know why they added pine nuts because nobody knows unless
nobody misses." Yeah. And they're so expensive. I've used walnuts in place just for a little bit of that nuttiness.
Yeah.
It's mainly if I felt like there wasn't enough Parmesan, then I added the walnuts because adding it that way.
I freeze it in all kinds of things, and when you open that up, it's like, that's summer.
Oh, I know.
So that
It's
is
summer
something
in
I
a
dearly
jar.
love.
Yeah.
Really love.
And
I
that's just
do
it. Like,
wish
again,
that
I
there was
like,
somebody who would pick the leaves off the basil stems. It gets a
I
little
know, the
tedious
whole
when you're making
process
massive
of it.
amounts of it.
Yeah. 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 And that's so much of what like garden to table is
Yeah.
the easy, like, we're not
Make it
looking for
easy.
complicated. I don't want complicated. I
No,
want to
no,
throw a
no.
couple ingredients together that are
Yeah.
so fresh
Yeah.
that you don't need a bunch of things. Now,
Yeah,
my herbal
yeah.
teas right now are probably over the top. I have so many like herbs in the tea. I just do a cold infusion like every other day. But I'm like, I like this flavor. I like this herb. I'm going to
Yeah,
use
that's
it.
cool.
So again,
That's
if you
cool.
ask me
Yeah.
like medically what it's doing for me, I'll be like, I don't know. It just tastes good. Again,
Yeah.
as an aspiring herbalist, that's what I'm going for. But
Yeah.
yeah, the simpleness of like bringing in a couple ingredients, using whatever else you have, and
And
just
let it
those are the
speak for itself.
flavors.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah,
funny. It just occurred to me now while you're talking about, so my husband, I said he grew up in this Italian community, and he's half Polish and half Italian. So on the Italian side, this is a very unusual combination. It doesn't usually happen. But his grandmother was from northern Italy. She was from the area of
Oh,
tortellini, the filled pastas, and things like that. Then his grandfather was from southern Italy at the toe of the boot, which is very much,
very
well,
different.
Calabria, the hot,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's even in southern Italy, it's palm trees, and in northern
Yeah.
Italy, it's like pine trees, like Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's the
You would not
Alps.
know
Yeah.
it from Wisconsin, where
Right.
she grew up. So that's the area where Parmesan cheese,
Yes.
prosciutto, all of these kinds of things. And the one thing is they make the filled pastas, and she taught me how to make them. And when you were talking about simplicity, the little tortellini, and I mean, she would stand over me while I was learning. They were about the size of my fingernail, and I have
Yep.
filling in the freezer right now. But that filling was 3 kinds of meat, 3 kinds of cheese, some breadcrumbs and butter, all blended together in these teeny tiny little things. So
Yeah.
that's not the simplicity you were referring to, but it is good. There's no question.
It is good. And I'll
it's
tell
like
you what,
the
I'm
kiss
not
on the-
going through that. Yeah. But again,
I do it.
I enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
For me, knowing that like I don't have the Italian grandma to learn from, I would rather, we have a beautiful Italian neighborhood here in Cleveland. We have
Mhm.
also the West Side Market.
Mhm.
We have a company called Ohio City Pasta. Like
Mhm.
some of the local stuff that I can get here would far, like
Yeah.
if I want the complicated, I'm going to go buy that
Oh, of
because
course,
I
of
don't
course.
want to take the time for make the complicated, but
I
yeah.
do it out
But
of
if
love.
I eat the complicated, I wouldn't even probably put a sauce on that tortellini. Like I would,
Yeah.
I
Well,
wouldn't
in fact,
want the red sauce
where he grew up,
fighting with
they're
it.
not served in that. His grandmother, you served them in broth, homemade chicken broth is what they were served with. They were
Yes,
never served in
exactly.
a sauce.
Yeah.
Now they are, but not, mm-mm.
Yeah.
It was, and in fact, when
My
we were in
lineage
Italy,
is Irish and German and French
yeah.
Canadian, so we don't have any great foods to speak
Yeah,
of. So.
yeah. There's a few. There's a few. More of the desserts, especially with the
Yeah.
desserts.
Yeah, we definitely do have
Yeah,
good
yeah,
desserts.
yeah.
But yeah, it's
But
yeah.
So something happened today, and I just wanted to share. I'm feeling the need. So I work from home most of the time, and I working away, and doorbell rang, and my husband was not around, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go down and answer it, just because of who's going to be at my door. It could be more of an intrusion than I was up for.
Yeah.
But you know what, just go down and see. So I go down, and I had waited long enough that they were starting to move, but I saw a bicycle, and I thought, okay, maybe somebody's, trying to sell something or whatever. Well, I go out, and here is, they're not even all that young, late 20s, probably early. The man was probably early 30s. One of them, the female, was on a bicycle, and then he's got a lawnmower, and our yard needed mowing, and so they were down a little bit, and I called. I said, "Did you want something?" They said, "Well, wondering if I could mow your lawn for $10." And I was like, He said, my car is broken down and I need to fix it. And I'm trying to get some extra money. So I said, let me go get my husband because he was going to mow it today. And I'll go ask, see.
Yeah.
So we end up, and I get to know these people, and they're from Puerto Rico. They're here because I never did quite hear the full story, but they've lived a couple different places in Wisconsin. The female, the mom, and they're together. They've got 4 kids, and she's waiting for a heart transplant. But I mean, she showed me she had a pacemaker. She's 27 years old, and I told you, well, it's even going up. It's 93s. I think it was 90, whatever. It's hot.
It's not a fun day to be out there.
There they were. And we said, yes. So they got, not only did he mow, they pulled the weeds. And I see her, Keith, my husband, comes, he's like, they're pulling the weeds. I'm like, what? And so I'm like, she has bare hands. So I took her some gardening gloves, things like this. I'm taking them water. I'm all this. And I'm like, you're not paying them $10. I'm going to give them.
Right.
They were well compensated. They got $50. I sent them home with basil. Amazing. I sent them home with zucchini. I sent them home with cookies that I had made because just all the things. But he said his car, he hasn't been able to work because he was cleaning houses. And his car broke, so he can't do that right now. And just how enterprising of them. It is hotter than hell outside, and there they were. Can I mow your lawn for $10? And instead of letting it beat them down and so forth, but they were so grateful then for, and my husband kept saying, don't we have some other things we can give them? I'm like, I'm not pulling, your tomatoes from last year out of the freezer. That's too heavy for them or whatever. And we got their phone number and we will have them back because it was wonderful to have their help. And I was in tears when they left. I mean, it was just, they were just the nicest people. And I'm like, okay, I start listing my husband. There's an age difference and he's got some health things going on right now. And he just doesn't have the energy that he once did. And I don't have the time to do all the things. I can, and I do mow, and I can, and I do. I'm the one who weeds and does that kind of stuff for sure. But, so there's so many hours in the day, and to have that, and they worked, and they were so grateful, and it was like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I just felt
what a beautiful experience because I do live in the city, and not always is it that good of an we'll have people knock on the door when they're not supposed to, and or somebody posts in the neighborhood group going, watch out because these are scammers going around, and and not everybody is that, and then when you find that and the true intention and the gratefulness that they had for you, and the universe saying, go answer that door, go see what it's for.
Yeah, because I almost didn't. And even while they were mowing, because they went back, I mean, they cleared stuff. I mean, it was amazing. It was
looks great.
Amazing.
It looks great.
It was.
That's awesome.
And our yard is not a pretty picture perfect yard. We're in the city, but I stopped applying the pesticides and all of that kind of stuff. And it's whatever grows now. And so it's not a luxurious lawn by any means. It's green, but that's about it. And you don't want to walk barefoot on it because it's not soft by any means. But while they were mowing,
I'm barefoot in the garden all the time. I'm always barefoot. But
But anyway, I don't know. I just felt because it was.
That's beautiful. Because those are the things those are the beautiful connections that can come together sometimes and bring our world a little bit closer, and two people that you never would have encountered for any other reason than they knocked on your door.
And you're right. I mean, a person, because I live, it's a small city, but still you hesitate. I mean, we've had all kinds of shenanigans, even even in the small town. Well, for the first time ever, what was it, May, I had all kinds of my Amazon orders, 4 boxes of Amazon stuff stolen. And that had never happened to anybody around here before, and so forth. So, just you got to be, it's a different, and used to, when I was still teaching and in the different classes, one thing I often said to my students, we never know what somebody else is walking through and what they're dealing with. And desperate people will do desperate things because it's easy to get complacent.
Yeah.
And that reminder of things can be a very important one. And even this, I mean, it's like, wow. Like my husband says to me, I feel like we're the rich people for some. How do we get to be the rich people? You know, we're comfortable, but it's
right. But you've worked hard and you've gotten yourselves to a place.
He's a retired college
like,
professor, and things like that.
Right.
So it's a modest life, but it's a happy life. And but he's like they're out there working in our yard, and his grandfather. That would have been something his grandfather probably did along the way, when he was a kid to survive in Southern Italy. Yeah.
I mean, I know the things I did early on in my business, I don't do it anymore because it's too hard on my body and I just don't want to do it anymore. And I'm grateful enough to be far enough along in business that I'm like, I get to outsource that. Therefore, that's the cost of this. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah. You can hire somebody to build the framing for the beds or whatever.
I still build the beds, but that's just my creative outlet that I love building. I do love woodwork. And I spent I spend a lot of time at my office at my computer, and I'm like, oh, cool, a day when I can be outside doing that. But the other hard stuff.
Somebody else can fill them with the dirt and such.
They do. The guys they've got again young, strapping 20-something-year-old guys with their own landscaping business, and they do the hard. We call it worst first.
Yeah.
They clear everything out first and lay everything down. They do the worst parts. Cool. I do the fun parts. Cool. Exactly. So. Well, I wanted to circle back one more time on kind of what we do business-wise. I am, as I said, I'm local here in Cleveland, but I will be expanding more within Grounded Growth Collective here of what offerings are. I do have a couple of paid tiers, and I'm going to be having a video. Sorry, that's the FedEx one. The two loudest ones, UPS and FedEx. We've got all of our packages coming.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
But they the paid tiers to right now, and they may evolve, they may change. I have one called the Seed Plan and the Bloom Plan. And what that does is it gets people into, I have a whole digital library that I built out last year of PDFs and videos that are very gardening specific, of course. But again, what I'm going to be doing here is layering in more about the planning, how you're thinking about upcoming things. The Bloom Plan is the second tier of my paid tiers, and that's actually going to get you in with more interactive stuff. I'm doing live videos with those members. But no matter what, anybody that comes along knows I love my PDFs. So anybody that subscribes to me on Substack, they get my free download. I've had this for years. It's called Let's Get Growing, an introduction to growing seasonal food. I've a lot of people have done this. So it's fun. A really cool way to understand seasons. And you're like, oh, again, those aha moments of, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I've created some free one, some new one, not free, but this is new with, it's for intensive planting, which again, you asked me, do I crop rotation? I do what's called intensive planting. So that's for my Bloom Plan members only. But above and beyond that, I am looking, I know you've got workshops open. I am going to be, I need to really decide like now if I'm going to do this. I think I want to do a Plan Your Fall Garden workshop. And it'll probably be a Google Meet, but I'll be doing it over here on Substack and bringing people in from wherever where they can plan that out. But more of these stories to continue each week. I know we've got one lined up for most of the week.
As I get out there, what I'm trying to do right now, or what I am doing, is getting the daily dose, enough of them sort of banked, so then I have capacity to, okay, now let's do a live, or let's do a thing and so forth. So
we all just
we'll have you back and on mine, and I'll just kind of keep going back and forth and having the fun. But thank you so much. This has been delightful.
Lovely.
And just a reminder, you can find me on Substack. Subscribe to the Daily Dose. It doesn't cost you anything. It's 3-4 minutes and kind of gives you a sense of what's going on in that overall collective energy. They're short, and I'm a fast talker, so you're not going to feel the need to. Believe me, I heard about it. I've actually slowed down a lot over the years because the students were always like, "You talk too fast," and I'm like,
"You talk too fast."
Listen well enough.
I'm the person on podcasts that I put it to 1.25 or 1.5, sometimes even 1.75, where I'm like, get to the point, get to the point.
Same,
Now,
same.
I'm able to comprehend that.
Yep,
if I were
same.
speaking that, that's not great either. But
No,
I really appreciate
Yep,
everybody
thank you.
that joined us
Yeah.
live as well. If
Yeah,
anyone,
thank
I
you
know
so much for being
Maureen
here.
has had some
Come
great
find
comments
me.
in here. If anyone else in here has a question right
Yeah,
here, we're more than happy to answer any
and
questions.
happy to talk to you about that if it resonated, that whole idea of when you're capable and something feels off, because I felt like something was wrong with me forever because of that sort of disconnect. And I spent thousands and thousands trying to fix something that it's not anything other than the patterns that I was designed with. And that is life-changing when you start to sort that out. And that's the deeper side of the one-on-one or the more intimate group work that I do. We touch a little bit on it as we get going in the Substack, stuff. But for the real, that concentrated, make the progress, because I am a different person now than I was. 25 years ago, for sure. Because
I don't want to be who I was 25 years ago. I was fresh out of high school, and I'm really happy I'm not that same person.
I'm like twice your age, probably. What did we talked about it the other day? But it never was.
I'm turning 44 in a week, so
okay. No, I'm not twice your age, but
You're not.
I'll be 66 in September. So there we have it. And
exactly.
You know what? I own my age. I'm happy. I feel like my life just keeps getting better and better all the time, and it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So
that's the beauty, and that's what I love that this community is doing, is bringing women like us that no rhyme or reason why we'd have ever chatted before or met before.
No.
You
get to have the message out there.
Conversations like this, where I feel like you're sitting next to me, even though you're several states away and a big lake in the way. But and I will
well, next time we can talk quilting and knitting and cooking, all the things.
Exactly, all the fun things.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are live, I will be live next week. It will be Tuesday's my birthday, so I'm not doing that, but it will be Wednesday, the 22nd, July 22nd. I have another guest lined up, and I will actually be up in northern Michigan. So I will be on a small inland lake. Oh my gosh. Well, you'll be in the UP, I think, right?
Yeah. But not that far from you, really.
My parents live in Petoskey, which is not quite the UP. We're 30 miles south of Mackinac Bridge, but I will be up there for some family time, but I'm gonna still
be having the same
first half of it, and then that second, I think the last week of July, I'll kind of ship on out of here.
I'll have to.
I'm not doing anything.
If you do a live next week, I would have to catch the replay, because
that's fine. Yes.
But after that, I will do my best to be live and enjoy this, because that's how it works, right? But
it does.
We'll schedule something on my end of this too.
Yeah,
so
as we both keep evolving. It's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, thank you everybody for joining us today.
This was so much fun.
Great to get to know you together. I know.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.